You don't see manipulation. You feel it after it's too late. A missed promotion. A fake apology. A decision you agreed to but never wanted. And afterward, you ask yourself, what just happened to me? Because manipulation isn't loud. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It flatters. It delays. Hides behind just trying to help. But make no mistake, is war, as Machiavelli warned. He who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. We live in a world of invisible strings, where power is played like chess. And if you don't know the rules, you are the pawn. But there's another way. You don't need to become cruel, but you do need to become clear, sharp, unshaken. In this video, we'll expose the 5 laws of manipulation used to control your time, your decisions, your identity, and more importantly, how to defend yourself. Because clarity is resistance, and when you can no longer be manipulated, you become dangerously free. They don't need to control you if they can control your story. This is the first law of manipulation. Control the narrative. Because power doesn't just move through armies, money, or threats. Power moves through meaning, through perception, through stories. And the one who tells the story owns the truth. In any room, there is always an invisible battle, not just for attention, but for reality. And most people, they surrender it without knowing. They let others define what success means. They let guilt shape what kindness looks like. They let authority tell them who's dangerous and who's safe, all while thinking they're making free choices. But Machiavelli understood this long ago. The vulgar crowd always is taken by appearances, and the world consists chiefly of the vulgar. People don't follow truth, they follow what looks like truth. That's how the manipulator wins. They don't need to silence you, they just need to paint you differently. Twist your motives. Reframe your tone. Make them the hero of a story you didn't write. And if you're not careful, you'll begin to believe it too. You'll apologize for your boundaries. You'll explain away your instincts. You'll shrink your voice to fit a lie that doesn't belong to you. This is how the narrative becomes the cage. Because once they've defined the story, they've already defined your role inside it. So what's the defense? It starts with this. 5 defenses against narrative control. 1. Question the frame, not just the facts. When someone tells you a story, ask, what assumptions is this based on? Facts are often true, but frames are chosen. If the frame is wrong, the truth becomes a weapon. 2. Define yourself before they do. Clarity kills manipulation. Know what you believe. Know what you stand for. If your values are foggy, someone will always define them for you, usually to your disadvantage. 3. Don't argue inside their story. Escape it. If someone says, "Why are you being so selfish?" the trap is answering the question. Instead, step out of it. I don't accept the premise that saying no is selfish. 4. Speak in stories, not just facts. The manipulator wins because they use stories. You must do the same. Don't just be right. Be clear, be compelling, be human. Let people feel the truth, not just hear it. 5. Be willing to be misunderstood. Control addicts thrive on your fear of being judged. But once you can endure being misunderstood, remain silent. You become unshakable. You stop dancing for approval. You stop playing their game. Because here's the truth. If someone controls your story, they control your sense of self. And if they control your self-image, they don't need chains or cages. You'll walk into the prison willingly, believing it's your home. So write your own story. Speak it with conviction. Guard your narrative like it's your life because, in many ways, it is. This is the first law, and now you see it everywhere. There is a weapon more effective than threats. more subtle than lies, more paralyzing than fear. It's guilt. This is the second law of manipulation. Leverage guilt. Guilt is the leash that doesn't look like a leash. You wear it thinking it's your conscience, but often it's someone else's fingerprints on your morality. Machiavelli understood the human mind far better than the modern man is comfortable admitting. He knew that if you can convince someone they've wronged you, they'll do anything to make it right, even if you were never hurt. Because guilt doesn't seek truth, it seeks relief. And the manipulator knows this. So they exploit your empathy. They twist your kindness into obligation. They weaponize your care until you can't tell the difference between generosity and self-erasure. They don't need to force your hand. They just tilt your moral compass until you move it for them. And if you're not awake to it, you'll keep calling it doing the right thing. But there's a fine line between integrity and control. And sometimes the person calling you selfish is really just saying, "How dare you stop giving me power?" So what do you do when guilt isn't sacred but strategic? 5 defenses against guilt manipulation. 1. Know the source of the guilt. Ask, did I truly do wrong, or do they just feel denied? Real guilt comes from violating your own values. False guilt comes from violating their expectations. Learn the difference. 2. Don't negotiate with passive aggression. Silence, sighs, guilt-laced comments, this is manipulation in disguise. Refuse to respond until they speak clearly. Clarity breaks the spell. 3. Own your no without a backstory. You don't owe everyone an emotional explanation. A clean no is powerful. Over-explaining invites negotiation. Manipulators thrive on justifications. 4. Watch for conditional love. If someone only approves of you when you serve their needs, it's not love, it's a contract. Withdraw your energy from people who confuse compliance with character. 5. Measure your morality by your principles, not their pain. You are not the villain in every discomfort someone feels. Sometimes, doing the right thing still hurts someone. That doesn't make it wrong. Stand tall. The weight you feel might not be guilt, it might be growth, because guilt is only a chain, if you agree to wear it. And when someone tries to control you through guilt, they're not appealing to your ethics, they're hijacking your identity. But once you see the game, you no longer play blind. You become deliberate. You choose your values consciously. You stop apologizing for protecting your energy, your peace, your purpose. And in that moment, something dangerous happens for them. You stop being easy to control. This is the second law. And once you see it, you'll never fall for it again. Every empire is easier to conquer when its walls have turned inward. This is the third law of manipulation. Divide and isolate. No chains, no cages, just whispers. Divide them from their allies, from their instincts, from their sense of strength. That's how control is built, not through open war, but psychological siege. The manipulator doesn't need to break your will. They just need to separate you from the people and thoughts that make you powerful. They'll plant small doubts. Are you sure they really care about you? They said that. That's interesting. You're not overreacting, but maybe they are. They fracture trust with precision. Not with a hammer, but with a scalpel. And once you've questioned your allies, once you begin to silence your voice, unsure of how it will land, they become your only source of validation. Now, they are your truth, your mirror, your measure of sanity. This is the art of strategic isolation. Machiavelli wrote, "A prince must always choose those in his service who are wise and allow only them to speak the truth. But if the prince surrounds himself with flatterers, if he exiles those who speak clearly, then he rules over an echo, not a court, and you." If you cut off every dissenting voice just to preserve one toxic bond, you'll wake up one day unsure whether the thoughts in your head are even your own. So how do you fight back? 5 defenses against divide and isolate tactics. 1. Keep a circle that reflects your best self, not your weakest. True friends challenge you. Manipulators flatter you. If someone pushes you to cut off everyone else, ask why. 2. Journal your thoughts to stay anchored in reality. Manipulators twist words. Your memory becomes foggy. Writing down what was said and felt keeps you in control of your narrative. 3. Set a time for solitude, but not abandonment. Isolation is a control tactic when they choose it. Solitude is power when you choose it. Know the difference. 4. Test the relationship by speaking a hard truth. If they shut down, retaliate, or punish you emotionally, they're not building trust, they're building a trap. 5. Trust patterns, not apologies. One-time gaslighting can be excused. Repeated erosion of your self-trust is a sign. You're being managed, not loved. Because when someone isolates you from your tribe, from your clarity, from your voice, they don't just want your loyalty. They want your dependency. But dependency is the beginning of control, and control is the end of freedom. So, reconnect. Reclaim your voice. Rebuild your alliance with truth-tellers, not comfort dealers, 'cause the strongest minds are never truly alone. They carry clarity as company. This is the 3rd law. Divide and isolate. Break the spell, and you break their power. The easiest way to control a person is to convince them they're already in control. This is the 4th law of manipulation. Flood with flattery. Not all power grabs are violent. Sometimes the softest touch leaves the deepest bruise. The manipulator doesn't rush to dominate you. They praise you first. You're the only one who understands me. No one does it like you. You're not like the others. And in the beginning, it feels like sunlight. Recognition, validation, a hunger finally being fed. But look again. That praise isn't nourishment. It's a leash made of silk. Because once you believe you're special, irreplaceable, chosen, you'll do anything to stay in their good graces, even betray yourself. This is not encouragement. It's emotional inflation. They blow you up with compliments, so they can pop you with silence. Because when flattery becomes your oxygen, their withdrawal becomes your suffocation. Machiavelli warned of this, too. Men are so simple and so much inclined to obey immediate needs that a deceiver will never lack victims. He wasn't endorsing it. He was revealing it. A manipulator doesn't need to force you to obey. They just need to convince you that you're favored. And favored people rarely question the hand that feeds them. 5 defenses against flattery tactics. 1. Pause before you accept praise to isolate. Ask, what are they praising? Why now? Not all praise is honest. Some is bait. 2. Notice the pattern. Is the flattery followed by a favor? Flattery is often a transaction in disguise. Look for the string before you wear the gift. 3. Anchor your worth internally, not externally. If compliments define your value, manipulation is only one sweet sentence away. Build your identity from within. 4. Watch how they react when you disagree. True allies respect your no. Manipulators turn cold when admiration isn't mutual. 5. Practice silent observation. Let people reveal their patterns. Don't interrupt the illusions, just watch who they flatter and when. Because the moment you need their praise to feel whole, you're no longer in relationship. You're in bondage. They don't love you. They love your compliance, and their compliments are just the sugar that hides the poison. But you're not here to be sweet-talked into silence. You are not a throne for their ego. You are a mind sovereign, discerning, untouchable. So when the words come warm and seductive, when they tell you, you're different. Ask yourself, what do they gain by making me feel this way? Because sometimes the greatest danger is not the enemy who strikes you. It's the one who smiles as they slowly take your sword. This is the fourth law. Flood with flattery. Stay awake. Stay free. The sharpest sword is not a blade. It is confusion. This is the fifth law of manipulation. Confuse, then conquer. Not all enemies wear masks. Some wear mirrors reflecting exactly what you want to see, until you forget what you even look like. Confusion is not chaos. It's a strategy. They give you mixed messages. One day, warmth. The next, ice. They praise your independence, then punish you for using it. They push you away, then demand to know why you're distant. They speak in riddles, never answers. Apologize without changing. Ask questions they don't want answered. And slowly, you begin to doubt your own compass. This is not clumsiness. This is design. Because when your inner clarity is broken, you become dependent on their map. When nothing makes sense, you reach for anything that feels right to heaven if it's wrong. They want your loyalty, not through truth, but through exhaustion. Machiavelli understood this. He who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived. In confusion, they become the only constant. And in their eyes, that makes them God. 5 ways to break the fog of manipulation. 1. When actions and words don't match, believe the actions. Confusion thrives in contradictions. Look past the poetry, see the patterns. 2. Create written clarity. Write what was said, done, and promised. When the mind spins, truth on paper is your anchor. 3. Don't chase closure. Confusion is a trap that keeps you seeking resolution from the person who caused the storm. You don't need answers to walk away. 4. Use the mirror technique. Ask yourself, if a friend told me this story, what would I tell them? Step out of the fog by stepping into another lens. 5. Take time alone without their voice in your head. Silence reveals what noise concealed. The truth is already within you, buried under their static. Because if they can confuse your thoughts, they can conquer your will. And once your will is gone, you don't even know you've been conquered. You smile, you stay, you defend them, you become your own jailer. But you are not a puppet. You are not a fog walker. You are firelight in the dark. You are the storm's end. So when the words contradict the energy, when their presence feels like walking through broken glass, trust that feeling. Because your clarity is rebellion. And when you reclaim it, you reclaim yourself. This is the 5th law. Confuse, then conquer. But not today. Not with you. You've woken up. And no one rules a mind that is fully aware. So now you know the game. The smiling mask. The moving goalposts, the hidden strings beneath the gift. You've walked through each of the 5 laws like a firewalk. And each step burned away the illusion. Because this was never just about them. It was about you. About the part of you that kept hoping they'd change. The part that kept rewriting reality to avoid abandonment. The part that thought being nice was safer than being whole. But here's the truth. Manipulation only works where self-trust is broken. Where there's a hole in the soul, a manipulator will fill it. Where there's silence, they will narrate your story. Where there's guilt, they will install their control. But when you heal the breach, their words become dust. Their games become obvious. Their tactics, laughable. Because sovereignty is not rage. It's not revenge. It's clarity. It's standing in the storm and saying, I know who I am. I know what I saw. I do not need your approval to breathe. I do not need your permission to be free. You were never born to be a pawn in someone else's game. You were born to be the board itself, the one who watches, the one who chooses. 5 final declarations of inner power. 1. I am not what they project. Their shame, their blame, their chaos is not mine to carry. 2. I will no longer shrink to be liked. If truth costs me connection, so be it. Better alone than erased. 3. I reclaim my voice. No more walking on eggshells. My words are my sword and shield. 4. I trust my intuition more than their excuses. Gaslight me once. That's on them. Gaslight me twice. That's on silence. 5. I define my worth, not their reaction. Their mood does not measure my value. Their confusion does not erase my clarity. Let the mask fall. Let the illusion crack. Let the chains slip. You're not a chess piece. You're the strategist. You're the sovereign. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to win them back. You don't need to make it make sense. You need only to return to your own throne. Because in the end, the most dangerous manipulation was the one that made you doubt your own light. And now you see, and now you choose. So walk forward, not with vengeance, but with vision. Not with hatred, but with holy disobedience. You are not a victim of their script. You are the author of your freedom. This is the final move. This is your inner citadel. This is sovereignty, and no one rules you again.